Losing it, losing it, losing it, losing it, losing it, losing it. If you got a story, we don't care it.
That's what's gonna be playing.
It's happy or gory, so come share your losing it story.
All right, so yeah, you can go ahead.
Hey guys, welcome to Losing It. I'm Nelsie Spencer, and Losing It is a podcast where people tell stories about losing it. Every week I have a guest, and I'm here with my wonderful, amazing producer, Mr. Ronnie Whaley. Hey Ronnie.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
Yeah. Good.
Actually, I have a little update.
Tell me.
Yeah. Remember how last week we were talking about if my dad.
I was gonna ask.
Yeah.
Did Dad listen?
So no, well, okay. So what happened was, so we have like a family group chat where like my siblings and my mom and my dad are in, and he sent the episode onto the group chat, and he was like, "Hey, look, it's Ronnie's podcast," and my siblings are younger. I'm like the oldest, right? And I was like, Dad, maybe can we not do that because it's kind of adult? And then he immediately deleted the message. And then because of what I said, and then I was like, yeah, there's some stuff in that episode that I feel like would surprise you. And he was like, oh, I didn't listen to the whole thing yet. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And then he was like, but I think what he said was, in my experience, most party stories are 80% BS anyway. And I was like, just please assume that this is that.
Yeah, this is a 95% BS, Dad. Yeah. Didn't really happen. Yeah.
So I'm sure he's going to listen to the rest of it, and then I'll have more to say.
Are you a little nervous?
Yeah, I'm a little nervous, but I'm lucky I'm like halfway across the world. So.
Well, I didn't find this out until decades later, but when the first thing I ever wrote, My Heart Belongs to Daddy, which was a little bit racy, and there was it's just two best friends talking about boys. And so my mom flies to New York and sees it when we do it in the village at this little tiny venue. And sitting next to my brother, and I didn't find out until years later that after the lights came up, my mom turns to my brother and goes, well, they're just a couple of sluts.
Oh my God.
Oh, decades until my brother told me that. And I was like, okay, I'm glad you waited, because I would have been really upset at the time. But then looking back, I was like, I kind of can see how you might have thought that. Fiction. It was a fictional play.
That's hilarious.
80% not true. Just like your podcast. Yeah. Okay. Good update. I was wondering, and I meant to ask you, so I'm glad you remembered. All right. So you have to keep us posted.
Oh, yeah.
When Dad listens, we got to find out what he says.
Yeah. Hopefully just my dad.
Yeah. So I'm really excited about the guest that we have this week. And I approached him a while ago because I started following him on Instagram and watched all his videos, and he was so interesting and sort of charming and sort of, just very real. And, I'm a sucker for a good pet video. This pit bull got saved, this chihuahua only weighed 2 pounds, whatever, pull me right in. And he is the guy who created Marley's Mutts. And I don't need to tell you much more than that because you're going to listen to the episode. And follow him on Instagram, and once you hear his story, you will totally go to his page and, give $5 because what he's doing for animals is unbelievable. And he's got a great story, and his name is Zach Skow, and he's an awesome guy. And take a listen. So for me, it's kind of cool. And I live in a nice place, in a nice house near the ocean, and I have my dog.
Where do you live?
I live in a little town in New Jersey called Tom's River.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Do you know?
Of course.
Do you know the Jersey?
I'm familiar with it because of baseball.
Did you play baseball?
I mean, I'm a baseball fan. and I played baseball in high school and growing up, and you know.
Are you a Yankees fan?
No, I'm an Angels fan.
Oh, of course, because you're a California boy. Yeah.
Yeah. And my grandfather, who died in 1961. This is my grandfather's 24-hour-a-day book from Alcoholics Anonymous. I never met him. My dad barely knew him, but I found this going through my grandmother's stuff when I was in liver failure, dying of the same disease he died of at 41. And he was there was a bunch of letters, and in that he was talking about going to the first Angels games in 1961 when the Angels were brought to California, and they played at the old Wrigley Field in LA. And it's got his head.
So was he sober when he died?
I don't think so.
Oh, even though he had
He was reading his book because it's marked, it's marked July 3rd, which was the day he died.
Oh,
So
man.
it's marked that day. You can see the ribbon. So that's one of my prized possessions.
Is your dad still around?
Yep, he's 74 and he's doing great. My mom is 68. She's doing great. She's sober 8 years.
Fantastic.
Yep.
So a lot of sobriety all around you, which is nice, right?
Was not always the case. Was quite the opposite.
Yeah. Well, I guess, yeah. You got to have the non-sober for sober to have a meaning, right?
Yeah, you do. You do indeed. Cora, come here. Let me introduce you to Cora. Come here, bud. My little two-legged.
I love Cora. Do you know how many people I've introduced to Cora?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because like
outstanding.
You're a little bit of my new obsession. Like,
nice. You hear that?
Hi, gorgeous. Hello,
What's
sweet.
up, bug? She goes, Dad, what the fuck? This
This
is where she wants to be, though. She likes to be here at all times.
Of course she does. And how long have you had
This is
her?
Almost 3 years, 2.5 years.
Angel. What an angel.
Yep.
Oh my. Does she have a little bow in her hair?
She does indeed.
How old's your daughter? What's your daughter's name?
Her name is Shiloh.
Shiloh.
And she is 2 years, 4 months.
Fantastic.
2 years, 4 months today.
Oh my. So
Yeah.
she's an
11th
April.
was her
She's an
birthday.
April baby. Yeah.
April
And how
11th.
long have you been married?
2 years to the day I met my wife. She was born.
Nice. That's so
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, one of the ways that I have been surviving quarantine, which actually, like I said, it's kind of been easy for me. So, is that I go to the dodo and I watch dog videos or cat videos that make me happy. And so
Sure.
that's how I found you. And then I started
Nice.
following you. And then I was like, oh man, this guy's fascinating and smart and funny and, got some great tattoos and all of that. And of course, I get a glimpse of your wife and your daughter. So, that's also it's a nice story.
Nelsie, you're good enough, you're smart enough, you're beautiful enough, and gosh
damn,
darn it,
people like you. Yes, mocked him, always loved Stuart Smalley because I related just a little bit too much to him,
Totally, I feel it.
So,
I do my affirmations every morning too.
Yeah? God damn it, you're adorable and people like you?
Well, I do more gratitude lists and like things I get to do. It's a list I'm on with a bunch of drunks. So we just send our gratitude lists and our thing, what we're going to do for our sobriety today and all that kind of stuff.
That's fantastic. Yeah, gratitude is one of a big things for I wake up. Sometimes I'll just go, what's 100 things I'm grateful for? And I'll it's amazing that you can come up with 100. It's not that hard,
No.
And yeah. So I am so happy that you said yes to me, and I know that you have a losing it story, and I'm really curious to hear it.
Sure. You're going to have to kind of coax it out of me.
I'm good at that.
Just through questions, but it's because I can get really long and drawn out. My recovery and my going into liver failure and my kind of my drunkalog in the last 12 years of creating Marley's Mutts and all of it. You know, it's kind of there's so many details and so many.
But I think you were going to talk about something kind of specific, right?
What did we focus on?
You were going to talk about this communal grieving, and I don't think I'm using quite the right.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Because
yes,
I feel like people have heard, not obviously, the story of you getting sober is, I'm sure, a much more long and complicated story. But
I've told it a million times.
Yeah,
this I like as much.
I
better.
want something different. I want something different, and I know that you've. So that's
sure. I'll just dive into it. You know, as a dog rescuer, I am focused on rescuing the worst possible case rescue scenarios, the down and out, the underdogs, the thrown away, abandoned, forgotten, those without hope. And in many cases that involves rescuing and saving those who are on their last legs, those who are not going to survive for very much longer. These are essentially hospice case dogs that, rather than have them die at a shelter where they are confused and their energy transitions, you know, over the rainbow bridge and into somewhere else in a very chaotic, sad, unfulfilling state, you know, I would much rather prefer to pull those dogs, give them a glorious last week or 2 weeks or a month or however long it takes for them to lovingly pass, and really celebrate the process, give them a chance to kind of take a deep breath, to feel loved, to pass as a sentient being should pass, which is surrounded by love and kind of appreciated. So, you know, we started to do that because we had so many shelters reaching out to us. It was, you know, in our area, we have 6 shelters. They're all kill shelters, meaning they all euthanize animals that come in. And we had the space to do so. We had the foster network to do so. And it was something I was very passionate about. It was kind of initiated by a dog named Alice, and Alice had lost half of her face to chronic abuse. She was a breeding bitch, and she was kept in a kennel for probably a decade, maybe more. She was probably 16 or 17 when we got her, and her mouth had just eroded. So she had a series of, you know, she looked like a skeleton, literally, because she had this exoskeleton on the outside because the skin had worn away around her mouth. And bless her little heart, she just wanted to live, you know. And the staff at the shelter at Kern County Animal Services, they didn't need to beg me. They knew I would take her, and they just said, this little girl is so sweet. We need to do something for her. We don't think she's going to live very long. And so we brought her into our home, and it was just when I started dating my wife. And
how did she take it?
It was really beautiful. Sorry?
How did she take it? How did she handle that? Sounds like it's pretty graphic and pretty tough.
Yeah, well, it was. She's used to rescuing too. She's an animal rescuer. The way I met her was through she being on the board of directors for a Los Angeles area rescue called CARE. So she was very familiar. It was heart-wrenching, but it was also quite uplifting because you saw her get a little bit better every day. I started dosing her with CBD. She started to get vibrant. She started to follow me around. She started to perk up and not shake. And, you know, she became quite comfortable. One day she basically passed away in my arms. She was just sitting there with me.
How long did you have her? Zach, how long did you have her at that point?
Several weeks. So she'd been with us for several weeks and kind of just improving a little bit here, a little bit there. And I was getting ready to feed her, and she just basically had a mini seizure and then keeled over. So I picked her up, administered CPR, which was not hard to do because she's so small. I could do it in my hand. And canine CPR is very different from, well, it's similar, but it's also very different from human CPR because you're giving chest compressions in a different way, kind of. And then you have to put your whole mouth over their nose and snout. Yeah. Ideally, you want to pull their tongue out to create an airtight seal, but I was able to put her whole mouth in my mouth, and she came right back. And
oh my God, I did not see that coming. That coming.
She laid with me for about 2 minutes, and then she was just looking up at me, and then she died. And So, it was very sad. And, as a family, we've been going through different things, the loss of friends, as a sober alcoholic and drug addict, I've lost a lot of people, many, many people in my life that I've sponsored who are in liver failure, liver transplant patients who I sponsor or others in recovery. And we just really wanted to pay homage to her and by sharing the entire experience. So we shared all of it, on social media, but then we also shared in the mourning process and how difficult, not even really how difficult it was, because we knew she was going to pass. That was always going to happen. But just we celebrated her. We celebrated how interesting it was for a whole group of people to mobilize around a dog that they'd never met. For so many people to be pulling for Alice on a regular basis, checking in every morning from all over the world, probably 100 different countries, so many people chiming in and rooting for her and pulling for her. So when she passed, we all kind of exalted her even more and honored her little memory. And it was a special way for us all to connect. I ran into a person at an airport.
And how long ago was this, Zach? How long ago was this?
This was 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago. And, I ran into a person at an airport who came up to me at the restaurant and just said, "I'll never forget what you did for Alice." Like, it's just funny how that works. But the experience was really special because you saw this collective grieving that it was almost like, instead of taking a deep breath, it was almost like everybody that was watching got to cry, got to be emotional, had an excuse to let go. We're all wound so tight. We're all so plugged in to social media and moving on to the next thing and to the next thing. And it just felt like everybody paused on this for a little while. And it felt like we were all there. We were all there to honor her. We all shared stories. We all said, "Thank you. And I appreciate you. And I love you," to everyone. It was, "Thank you guys for following. Thank you guys for supporting. Thank you for raising money in her name. Thank you for donating in her name. Thank you for," because I would do live posts with her and everyone would chime in, and thank you. So we just created this little community to honor this little spirit that had a terrible upbringing and to kind of make it all right. And we committed to doing a similar approach when we started our hospice care program in conjunction with Camp Golden Years. So now we've been able to do it for a lot of animals where we bring them in, they're terminally ill, suffering from cancer or combination of afflictions, and we get to really give them we call it a final gift. And that final gift is ushering them across the rainbow bridge with dignity and with love, and also getting to showcase, getting to introduce them to wonderful things, whether it be puppuccinos at Starbucks or steak dinners or quarter pounders with cheese or going on a hike. Like we buried Alice. I took Alice on a hike in a backpack a couple of times, and on the top, the crescendo of that hike is this really beautiful vista, and that's where she's buried. And we go up there all the time. We go up there, and I've spread many ashes up there. And
what kind of a dog was she?
It's hard to say. She was a little kind of a terrier, Chihuahua, something. Your kind of typical American shelter mutt, a combination of several, I guess small breed mutts. But she may have been like if I had to guess, I would say like a Yorkie terrier. She would have been very beautiful, but she was so run down by life that she didn't have much of that left. She looked quite horrific to some by conventional standards. Half of her face was like missing. There was no skin, no soft tissue. It was just her skeleton kind of on the outside.
Can I ask you a couple of questions?
Mm-hmm.
How do you handle the feelings that you might that come up around people that neglect or abuse some of these animals that you rescue? That seems to me that it would be extremely challenging.
It is and it isn't.
Talk to me.
It is because it is challenging because you don't understand people. You don't understand how something could exist like that, and people could lack the compassion to do anything about it. We rescued a dog last 2 weeks ago, and then another one a week and a half ago, whose collar was so badly embedded and had been living in a house that way, living in a backyard with a family tied up to a tree. And this collar had been on since it was probably 3 months old. It was a year-old dog. So, I mean, almost decapitated this dog. And the smell, just the smell, and completely embedded 360 degrees around with such a bad deep tissue injury. I mean, really,
I
really
saw
horrific.
the photographs on Instagram. They are not for the faint
Yeah.
of heart. And that dog is so precious. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
They both are. They're both incredible. So clearly, I'm bothered by that. And in kind of in a past life, I would have wanted to do something, go form a posse and go like round these people up and do harm to them or something. But the best way I can advocate for change and advocate for a shift in consciousness and a trend towards mindfulness about all creatures is to do what we do and put it out there. And if we try to malign people and we try to get uber aggressive towards people who many people just don't know any better, they're a product of their culture, they're a product of their society. So it's our job to educate people. If you've never been educated that treating a dog, a lot of people don't grow up with that in that paradigm. So if you don't grow up in the paradigm where dogs are treated like family, how are you supposed to know any different? And then to jump on people and rip them apart for some sort of cultural norm that they were raised in isn't exactly fair. There's a lot of things culturally, I mean, as extreme as like female genital mutilation, to as innocuous as, maybe keeping your dogs outside instead of inside.
Yeah.
But there's still the same theory. And that is, judging your own,
Cultural
judging
norms.
another culture based on, another culture based off your own cultural realities is just not necessarily fair. Cultural ethnocentricity is valid, and I think we should be determining what ideals we want to keep, what paradigms we want to shift, get rid of, fortify, whatever. But doing so in a real aggressive, anti kind of a way isn't very fair, and I want to be as fair as possible so that we can be as effective as possible. And I also work for Animal Wellness Action as a volunteer. I'm the state director for Central California, and that's what we do is legislation. So now that I'm 15 years into this genre of work, I'm excited to be pushing towards legislation that can permanently aid and assist our animal brothers and sisters.
That is so great to hear, and it's so true and so smart, and it's all.
Can I keep talking about the? Sorry to interrupt. I just don't want to make sure we didn't branch out. I wanted to keep talking about this collective mourning and kind of what I've discovered is so special about it.
Yeah, no, I want to get back there.
Okay.
Yeah. So you buried Alice. You up there. You spread many ashes there, and that experience with Alice was the beginning of almost a ritual around this, losing.
Yeah, we do it pretty often now. Probably a couple, probably 10 times a year. We used to have about one a month, and really it just depends on things have been kind of shut down in terms of the shelters lately. So we have to be. The shelters are still open for us because they're taking in animals, but we just have access to fewer animals. But yeah, we've done it for a whole bunch of critters, and it's kind of added a whole nother layer to rescue, providing hospice care for dogs and cats, because it's kind of saying, look, we fucked up and we're really sorry. We being, let's back up a little bit. People who don't like to take responsibility for pit bulls or for dogs in general, I find hilarious, because dogs as we know them in the world, not just America, are products of human beings. They are a technology that we developed. So dogs came from two distinctly different origin points in the world and evolved from those two specific origin points. Breeders in the 1800s, 1700s, 1800s got a hold of different dogs and created different breeds, right? So dogs as we know them were man-made. They were created by man. Yet we have this, we absolve ourselves from any responsibility for where they are, what they are, how they are, when in point of fact, very obviously, if you trace it back, we are 1,000,000% responsible for their well-being across the board. We don't get to be picky and choosy. I mean, we have to take collective responsibility for our pets. So I think why this is so fun and popular is because it gives all of us a chance, instead of going out and kicking someone's ass who might have abused an animal, it gives us an opportunity to do something even better, which is coalesce around a dying animal and just give them love, give them everything they should have had from the get-go, and kind of make things right. That's the best way to make it right.
Love
right?
it.
You know, not like brutalizing someone into, for a poor series of decisions they made.
Yeah, I love that, because certainly brutalizing somebody because of bad decisions doesn't do anything for the sweet creature. What can we do? What can we do for the sweet creature? And love and attention and care. Yeah, yeah. And so how has that sort of evolved? Like, what have you learned through doing this for 4 years and having done it for maybe more than 40 animals? What have you learned about in yourself? Maybe what have you learned about grieving? What have you learned about the process of carrying and helping that little sweet pea go across that rainbow bridge?
I've learned that the most profound thing I've learned is that the most alive you will ever be is dealing with death. The most alive you as a person will be or feel is when you are coping with death. You're coping with the loss of a life. We recently lost our personal dog. She was struck and killed in front of our house by a speeding vehicle. And, that loss, it was like the most traumatic thing ever. It's still something that echoes through our home and through our hearts, regularly. But we were very alive in that pain. We were very, very, very alive. And as a person who has not wanted to be around, I've been suicidal. I've had feelings of darkness where I just didn't want to be on earth. It reminds you of how precious life is. It reminds you of how much you are in love with things. It just goes to show you how much love permeates everything, and that's what it gives us this opportunity to do, is just really just love wide open, just love, love, love. And to do it on the internet, to collectively mourn with people. What I've learned is that people don't get to cry enough. People don't get to be sad enough. Jim Valvano, Jimmy V, once said in his ESPN speech that you've had a full day if you've laughed, if you've been moved to tears, and if you've thought about something significant, if you've laughed, and if you've been moved to tears, if you've cried. And how often do we cry every day? Not very often.
I'm a big weeper. I believe in it. Part of the reason sometimes I watch those Dodo videos or Marley's Mutts video is because I have a lot of weeping in me for, I don't know if it's this lifetime or last lifetime, I don't know, but I'm a big believer in it. I think it's a relief that we need. It's so important. It's been a really important part of my healing, is like my brother and I, he'll call me up sometimes and just like, I just need to cry, and I'll just listen. And I'm a big believer in it. When I meditate, my meditations end with me weeping, and it's almost quite often it's a weeping of gratitude, and that being grateful for being human, being grateful for being able to connect, being grateful for all the things that have happened to me, good, bad, and in between.
Yeah.
And certainly my dog is way, every time I look at her, I go, how did I get so lucky to have you?
And I think you kind of hit on what one of the kind of ancillary, really wonderful aspects of all this is that people have a need to want to connect, and we're doing it on social media. So we're dealing with the boundaries of social media no matter what. So some people would say, how can you really connect? But you definitely can. One, you definitely can. Two, when you're on a page where everyone on that post is feeling a particular emotion and being moved to tears and typing with tears and absorbing what's being transmitted, whatever I'm like disseminating through the post is being absorbed by all these people. They're all commenting, they're all feeling it. So it does have this group emotive feeling. And how, I would love to go to like a group therapy session at Esalen or something, but I can't afford those kind of things. And most people don't feel comfortable being emotive with other people. You know, you do it, something you do with your family, if you even do it with your family. So to get to be emotional online in kind of a public setting, I think is really powerful. And it gives people permission to be emotional in general. And especially when we're dealing with a lot of people who have shame around the way they feel. Including myself, I have a tremendous amount of shame for the way I feel in terms of anxiety, in terms of not being able to sleep, in terms of feeling like a fraud, all those kinds of things. And we shove it all down and we shove it all down and we don't have an outlet for it. And sometimes we just need to let it go. Sometimes we just need to cry some and feel like things are going to be okay. Yeah, I don't know. I think it just gives us permission, which is really beautiful.
Which it is beautiful. And I, for me as a, former, well, sometimes actor and writer and also writing coach and podcaster, connecting is like, so that's why I'm on the planet, man. That's why I'm on the planet, is to connect and to discover things and, to give something that I have to give, or to receive something new, or just to share an experience like that. That's why I'm here, and I'm with you. And I think that it's crazy, isn't it, how we would have shame around our feelings. It's like, oh, I have this feeling of anxiety, and then it's like, then we judge ourselves for having anxiety, or we're depressed.
Mm-hmm.
I'll speak in the first person, I'm sad or I'm depressed, and then I'm mad at myself that you're still depressed? Like, what kind of bullshit is that, I mean, I've gotten much, much, much better at it in the last couple of years, and I'm in my 60s, and I walked into therapy, my first therapy session at age 19, and I've sat in a lot of church basements. So I've been working on myself pretty consistently for a long time.
Yeah,
and I hear you. And, it's like when we say it out loud, it sounds so crazy. And if anybody else said, oh, Zach, I was really anxious the other day, and I just like, what the fuck is wrong with you for being anxious? Like, you would go, yeah, you're such an asshole. No, you would go, oh yeah, I know, I get anxious too. Right? We never judge other people the way we judge ourselves. It's so crazy.
It's nice that's shifting also, because people, now we have this ability to really connect with one another over those kind of shameful feelings, which now more than ever, it's something that connects us instead of drives us apart. Before, it was something that was not to be acknowledged. Don't acknowledge that you're depressed. Don't acknowledge that you're anxious. Don't acknowledge that you're sad, because it's it's just going to make other people around you feel shitty or whatever. And now it's, I love to meet people who have and share those same emotions. I have a funny story. One of my best friends finally hit rock bottom and confessed to me that he was an alcoholic. And it was a very somber, sad experience for him. And he goes, I'm just wanted to call and tell you that I'm alcoholic, and I don't know what to do. And I was like, no shit, that's amazing. I was like, that's outstanding. And he goes, well, I thank you for being elated that I have a potentially terminal disease. And, I was just thrilled that one of my best, I get to go to meetings with one of my best friends, and that I get to bond with him and help guide him into sobriety. Also, his mom was one of my kind of pseudo sponsors, and we've been pulling for him for years. So it was a very special connecting time.
It wasn't news for you, right?
Yeah, no, it's more just like another thing that maybe someone else would be drinking, cranberry and sodas with me at the end of the bar while everyone else is having a blast,
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's fantastic. So you do these. Now I feel like I keep getting the term wrong. Communal grieving. What's the term you've been?
Well, we call it a final gift. Is what is technically what taking what we do for these dogs who are terminally ill is called a final gift. But yeah, it's like collective mourning. It's just to all be experiencing this same grief at the same time, and to be able to do so and like message one another and comment and like each other's posts and or comments. It really provides this kind of community of grieving. And I think rarely are people just grieving the dog that passed. I think they're always grieving a lot of other things that are happening under the surface, or maybe not
Or
on the
stuff that
surface.
maybe they never grieved before from who knows where.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
maybe it leads to other breakthroughs where you kind of have these aha moments about, oh, that's what I'm really feeling. Because we are so fucking good at creating this illusion of what we're feeling. You know, people won't tell you what they're actually feeling, especially men. Well, a lot of women too. It's just women, because they've been typecast as emotional for so long, want to toughen up, update themselves for the 21st century, and not be as emotionally connected, right? And men, it's just, you know, we're not as hardwired to be emotional. Yeah, I think it.
Yeah, I'm the person who, when I go to the grocery store and the woman who's checking me out says, "How are you doing?" I'll go, "Well, I had kind of a rough morning." Like, I'm like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't know. No, I really wasn't
Yeah.
interested. You know, it's like I'm
Yeah.
much more likely to, you know, tell you how I'm really feeling. Maybe,
I guess that was the point I was getting at, is that we have this tendency to want to stay above it. We want to operate on a very low frequency in terms of emotional honesty. So we don't want to share how we're feeling or what we're feeling, because on one hand, what's it going to serve? And on the other hand, no one wants to hear my feelings, right? But in point of fact, in reality, you know, if we have those are just opportunities to connect. If you do decide to share what you're feeling, it's a tremendous opportunity to connect with another person who might really need to hear what you have to say. And then all of a sudden you're forging this bond that is on a much deeper frequency. And then that leads to love, right? And then all of a sudden you've got love for somebody and appreciation and empathy. And then now you're cooking. You know?
it's like when you hear somebody share in a 12-step room and they share their most vulnerable thing. I mean, for me, I just have this outpouring of love and outpouring of connection, you know, so It's so interesting. And oftentimes, you know, for me, you share and you're really vulnerable, and then afterwards you feel embarrassed or shameful. And I have to remind myself what a gift it is for me when somebody else gives me that gift of their vulnerability and their honesty. It's a gift. You know, as a writing coach, when I work with people that are writing memoir, you know, I'm asking a lot of them to tell me, you know, to write stuff and then read it to me. And then, you know, and so I just had a client today who was talking about her mom, and it wasn't a great mom story. Mom wasn't the best mom on the planet. And so, you know, I gave her a couple of my own mom stories, you know, because like, I feel like it's tit for tat. You know, and if I'm going to create that safe space for them, I can't, you know, I want to be able to say, hey, I hear you. I've had similar experiences, and then actually give them, you know, and that, how else, you know, and it's like when you do the final gift, you've created a safe space. First of all, you create a safe, loving space for that animal to pass. And then you create the safe space for the grieving. And that's just gorgeous to me. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. I also feel a tremendous sense of pride when I hear people share in 12-step meetings. But also when people allow themselves to be emotional. It's a very, you know, I work in prisons, and prison is a place where you're not supposed to be vulnerable, because vulnerability, sharing your feelings, is just another form of weakness, and weakness can really get you into trouble. Weakness can get you taken advantage of. It can get you, you know, taken advantage of, injured, all kinds of different things. But that's what we do. That's what we're there to do, is create a safe emotional space for growth, both vocationally, spiritually, you know, from a sobriety standpoint. And that introducing that frequency to those men and women is the most fulfilling thing I've ever been a part of. You know, when you get to, especially through dogs, because dogs really are an incredible mirror to your own emotions. When you're training with an animal for many, many hours a day, how you're feeling directly relates to how receptive your dog is going to be to training, to learning, to all those things. So you become aware of the consequences of not being honest with yourself. So if you're feeling shitty, depressed, sad, whatever, and you don't address it, your dog picks up all of that, picks up your anxieties, picks up all that shit. And then you've got a broken dog. You know, my dog Tug, who lived with me while I was at my worst, took on every one of my insecurities, you know, whereas the dog we got right after that, you know, Marley, he you know, he had everything I wanted in a human being. I guess the point I'm getting at is that they're forced to be emotionally honest with themselves if they want to be effective dog trainers. They have to share with me how their sobriety's going, you know, how things are going at home, and then give them permission to feel those things also, because they're used to just feeling anger. They just want to feel anger. We had one of the guys at Corcoran, we had moved the dogs out, and he came up to his cellie and he's like, you know, I'm really struggling. You know, I'm furious. You know, the dogs had just left. They'd graduated, and the dogs had just left prison. They'd been with him for 3 months. And he said, I'm furious, you know, and his cellie tells him, well, why don't you go to the yard and fuck somebody up? You know, why don't you go lay into somebody on the yard? So go start a fight, take out your aggressions, right? And then someone from the dog program, puts their arm around him and says, hey man, let's work through it. Let's talk about it. You know, what you're feeling is loss. You know, you're experiencing loss. You know, you're not angry. You're just experiencing loss. You are sad. You know what I mean? So we don't process sadness by going and getting a violation by taking someone out and then getting put in the hole for 3 months. You know, you take out loss by writing about it, by talking to me, your brother in the program, by whatever. And that was a big moment for him, you know. And this is a dude that's been shot in Corcoran, that's been stabbed in Corcoran, you know, and it was a real big moment for him. And when he told me that, I will never forget it. So that's what our dogs do for us, man. They really they keep us in the moment, and when we're in the moment, we allow ourselves to feel, you know. And when we do feel when we're in the past and when we're in the future too, but it's just it's like a lesser frequency of feeling. It doesn't do you any good. You know, I've been the guy who drank himself into liver failure, almost died, and then started a dog rescue, right? So I've been this addict alcoholic story of guy has nothing, almost dies, starts a dog rescue, and then that's my narrative. That's my, I've been abused by by family members, and I have a history of drug abuse, sexual abuse, you know, those kinds of things. So, and it leads me into feeling sorry for myself. And I'm the kind of person that doesn't need to feel sorry for myself anymore. I spent 2 decades feeling sorry for myself. And it served me as an alcoholic and an addict. If I could make Nelsie feel adequately sorry for me, you would help give me the shit I needed to poison myself. But the minute I stop feeling sorry for myself, I have to grow and get beyond that. And so I'm in the process of transitioning. It's something my wife's been helping me out with a lot, is to not just be that alcoholic guy that started Marley's Mutts out of desperation, you know, to be the husband and the father with another daughter on the way, and be all those things instead of, you know, that broken, damaged dude.
Yeah, because, and I relate to that. I also had some sexual abuse in my childhood, and so and that buys you a lot, man. I mean, you know, you win a lot. It's like, you know, it's sort of like, you know, if you grew up, if you are an incest survivor, then, oh man, you tie your shoes and you made it to the grocery store, good on you, you know, yeah. So yeah. And so there's this sense of and I've just in the last 3 years have gone that's a piece of me, but it's a small piece of me. I mean, I got 63 years of life that I've done, and I've done a lot of shit, and I'm powerful and strong and smart, and I'm not broken. And I never was broken. That's my new thing, that I wasn't ever broken. I identified myself as being broken because and I didn't do that on purpose and go, oh, that serves me. I was in pain. And I wasn't functioning well. And I was, you know, so I have enormous compassion for me then and now. And that's where the change has happened for me. If I can have compassion for myself throughout the whole journey.
I'm so glad you said that. That's such a misconception of therapy, is that it just introduces us to all our traumas so that we can have an excuse for everything. And I've used it as that. I've used trauma for that, and I think like the biggest thing that ever happened, my sexuality, my ability to be intimate because of childhood sexual trauma with a female family member prevented me from understanding intimacy. I was absolutely terrified of it, fucking terrified. And the only thing that would round off the edges a little bit was if I was properly intoxicated. If I was drunk enough or high enough, I could at least try to focus on certain aspects of pleasure or something. But for the most part, I've never been more scared. That if you've been through it, you can identify, but it's a type of anxiety that you're like teetering on panic attack the whole time. And like, and it's so important. How are you intimate with someone if you're feeling those things, if you're feeling confused? Yeah, exactly. But what I also did is I would blame the other. I would blame the person who's with me because I didn't want it to be my fault all the time. So I would say there's something wrong with how they introduce themselves intimately. But so I would find any excuse to stay in my story, to stay in my bullshit story. And then I properly processed it, with my therapist. And it was remarkable. I mean, the minute you're willing to move on from it, that you don't want to wear that shit like a scarlet letter and you want to be free of it, like you can be free of it, just like you can be free of the like scourge of alcoholism, the need to fill your body with alcohol. That obsession will go away. And my obsession to feel like I could never be intimate and I was always going to be broken, it will go away. I still have flare-ups of insecurity and issues, but for the most part, I like when I spoke about it and acknowledged it, and when I just found out that those were related, right? That trauma was the reason why I was so odd, like why I was so uncomfortable. And I really took time to work on it. I was like, holy shit, this is outstanding. Like I now understand it and I can now proceed from here. I don't have to be broken for the rest of my life. And that's the point of therapy. The point isn't to give you a bunch of like tools that you can bust out on people to leave you alone or not hold you accountable.
Yeah.
It's the opposite.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it is liberating. And I guess, I always say that, I mean, I feel like half of my clients have similar backgrounds than I do. And I think that that's not by chance. We find each other. It's like we have, a secret writing on our forehead. Yeah. Same shit happened to me kind of a thing. So, and, we're goddamn miracles, it's like as are many, many, many people out there. Everybody's got a story to tell. Everybody's got a story to tell. Some are more horrific than others. Some have happy childhoods. I haven't met anybody yet, but I bet they must be out there. Hopefully my kids will, are going to have a happy childhood to tell. Although we didn't do it perfectly by any means. So, it's that thing of being able to balance the acknowledging of it, but not wear it as a badge and not identify yourself as it.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah, and to be truthful about it too. I mean, I had issues in my childhood that were inexcusable, and that were difficult. But I also had a fucking great childhood. Like I also had a whole bunch of terrific things happen and a whole bunch of opportunities. And I grew up in Hermosa Beach, California. I
grew up in Palos Verdes. I grew up in Rolling Hills, right down the street.
That's where my dad lived.
What?
Yeah, Rolling Hills Estates. I swear to. So my parents split when we were 6 months old. My dad lived on Dobbin Lane in Rolling Hills. That's where I spent half my time.
My mom lived on Buckboard Trail for a while.
I know where that is. I used to walk by there with my dog and my skateboard all the time.
Oh my God!
Right off the drive north.
We grew up on the east side of the hill, Rocking Horse Road. And then my mom moved inside the gates. My parents got divorced. My dad moved to San Pedro. I mean, it was just, yeah. It was lovely. It was a shit show.
It's a great place to grow up, though, right?
A wonderful place to have a not so perfect childhood because it's gorgeous.
Exactly. Yeah, that was worded perfectly.
If things are going to be shitty, it might as well smell like eucalyptus, and the beach might as well be down the street, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, how ironic! Wow.
Yeah. Oh my God. Well, this has been, I mean, I feel like you and I could talk for about 3 more hours, but this was fantastic. It was better. I knew it was going to be good, and it was better than I thought. So that's
awesome. Well, I think you're just a joy. You have a very infectious honesty, and I hope I get to meet you.
Oh, good. You are going to meet me because I have to come out to the ranch. I've got to do that. But we end with 3 questions.
Okay.
And the questions are something that you hope to lose in the next year, something you hope to gain.
Hold on, you just went, you just muted.
Did I went? Oh, I muted myself by mistake. Oh,
there we go.
okay. Something
Critical time not to be muted.
Something you hope to lose in the next year, something you hope to gain in the next year, and something you hope you never lose.
Okay. Something I hope to lose, I'm going to stick with the theme, is the feeling of feeling sorry for myself. I hope to lose the feeling of sorry for myself because it doesn't serve me. I'm done with it. And it's become a subconscious go-to that doesn't serve anyone in my life, work, or in this spring. Something I hope to gain is it's hard to separate personal or professional. What I hope to gain is continued inspiration and intuition on how to help solve the prison industrial complex from my standpoint. So what I really hope to gain is an even stronger foothold in the prison reform movement, and to put myself to work to facilitate change where I know I can. You know, it's a daunting place. It's a daunting genre of work to try to get in against all these forces that are so well established, but I have some really good friends and some really good mentors and some really good traction, and we're headed in the right direction. And that's where I can be most effective to change lives, bring hope, and create like a real positive streak, is continuing our work inside of prisons and setting up people and families for life after incarceration that doesn't involve going back to prison. And something I hope to never lose is the love for my wife and my family.
Oh my Lord, that was perfect and gorgeous. Wow. Thank you so much, Zach. This was heaven.
Yeah. This was pretty heavy, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's just how I actually said this. That was heaven, not heavy.
Oh, heaven.
It was heaven.
It was both, yeah.
But heavy and heaven, yeah. I just knew it would be great, and you're just a light and a joy, and you know, I love that you said something I hope to gain. Let's see. I'd like to change the prison industrial complex. It's like most people like, what do you hope to gain? Well, I think I want to get a new patio furniture. And like, you want to change the prison industrial complex. Okay. All right. I'll check in with you next year and see how that's going.
Yeah, that's where my head is. I mean, I would like some padded outdoor furniture, though. I mean, that is up there.
Okay. All right. Wayfair, by the way. Wayfair. That's where I got mine.
Yeah, we're on.
Yeah. Well,
I think everything on Wayfair has been bought for the next 3 years.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly.
I think they're not delivering until 2021. People have been shopping in quarantine.
A lot of shopping.
If no one's told you that they love you today, allow me to be the first. You're loved.
Oh, right back at you. You're just a light, and I just knew you. I could tell how special you were, and now you surprised me even more with your willingness to connect. And thank you for that. It means the world.
You're very welcome. All right, I'll see you later. Thanks,
All
Nelsie.
right, thanks. Bye, Zach.
So wasn't that amazing, guys? He's amazing, right? That was fun. And I just was looking on Instagram, and he reposted a commercial he did for Hanes from like 3 years ago. So if you want to see him in just a pair of boxer briefs, I recommend that you go there immediately. And, you know, obviously he looks damn good in them. Otherwise, why would he be in a Hanes commercial? But more importantly, go to Marley's Mutts. That's MarleyS MUTTS on Instagram. And he has an amazing Facebook page. Donate $5, save a puppy. And now I understand that we got a losing it story. Somebody sent us one.
So last week we were talking about how we're going to do this weekly thing, right? Where we have people send in their losing it stories depending, like based around the theme of that week. And last week, I think we said like a party, losing a party type
stuff
story.
that you've done when you're shit faced that you really, when you've lost your shit, lost your mind, lost your equilibrium.
Yeah, exactly. So I got the letter and I read it, and there was a lot of emotions going through me, but I want you to read it, and
Honey,
I would just want to witness it. So yeah.
I am there. Okay. All right. So this is a fan letter, and the subject line is, I lost it on spring break. Oh, so many letters could have that title. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Jeez. Okay. Hi, Nelsie. It was my second night of spring break back when I was in college, and which is good, because if you're doing spring break and you're in your 30s,
that's just creepy.
You've got a problem.
Yeah.
I was in college and I was partying with these people I met on this party island. It was a pretty packed rave because it was for someone like Calvin Harris or someone important in that scene. You're going to have to translate for me later, Ronnie. I have no idea who that is. For some weird reason, we were going through bottles of tequila and I was feeling fine. Now, is it weird that you were going through bottles, but weird that you were feeling fine? That's the question. Usually I can't handle my liquor as well, but I was probably due to the buffet dinner I had earlier that I was able to drink as much as I did. At some point, I really, really needed to pee. I asked my friend, that happens.
Bottles of tequila.
Yeah. I asked my friend to come with me to the porta potty. Oh no. When we got there, the line was so long and I couldn't hold it any longer. So I told my friend I'm going to pee in the ocean and took off my shorts. I walked 20 to 30 feet into the water. At first I was peeing and then it came. I looked down below me and saw a long, log of my own shit. Glistening. Nice verb there. Glistening under the moonlight. Oh my God. I just spit on myself. And behind it, in the distance, was a wild rave with people dancing and partying.
Oh God.
Oh my God. That is like the worst nightmare. And this just tells us how much tequila. I mean, you're like, oh, I think I'm just peeing. Oh no, right?
It's like an ad for why you shouldn't drink that much tequila.
Exactly. Don't do drugs. Don't drink bottles of tequila.
I love the glistening under the moonlight. Like it's almost beautiful.
Yeah. Right. Then I got up from the water only to look down and see my phone. No! Submerged in the water because I forgot to close my waterproof pouch at the end of it. I still had so much fun. Oh, okay. I forgot to close my waterproof pouch. End of sentence. At the end of it, I still had so much fun, and I guess you can say that what I lost was control of my bowels.
Yep, that makes sense.
Well, I would say you lost your dignity, but I don't. If nobody else saw, then
if no one else saw,
it's our little secret.
Exactly.
Never again. Love the show, from Anonymous. As well it should be. And even if you had told us your name, I would not have said it because, oh my God, Anonymous, thank you so much. That is a great / horrific story.
Yeah, man.
I mean, it almost makes a knife to your neck seem like no big deal.
Yeah, seriously. I would rather a knife to my neck
there you
than
go.
like.
Would you rather have a knife to, what is that? Marry, kill, fuck. What is that?
Yeah. Fuck, kill, marry. Yeah.
Fuck. No, but there is a would you rather, right? There's a would you rather game. Would you rather poop
or never have I ever? Oh no. Would you rather?
Would you rather poop during a rave in the ocean, or have a knife to your neck from a crazy person? I don't know. You guys both came out unscathed.
Yeah. You know what? Write it down in the comments on YouTube.
Yes, on YouTube and on Instagram. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on YouTube. Go to our YouTube channel. Which one would you rather? Poop in the ocean, not cake by the ocean, or knife to your neck?
Oh my God.
Well, I think our first letter is a winner. Yeah. And guys, you're going to have to rise to the occasion.
So
right?
what's the week? What's it going to be this week?
Well, I think this week because Zach talks about the sort of helping dogs transition. And he also talks about being in recovery and being in liver failure and how his dogs got him out of that. One of the big reasons he decided, no, I'm gonna live. So I think if you have any losing it stories about losing a pet, and I would try to lean towards like, you know, something that you lost a pet, but it happened in a beautiful way, or, you know, right away, then, you know, the next day I found a kitten or whatever.
Because of this happened.
Yes. So if you're going to go down the losing a pet, because that's so sad, I like to have maybe a silver lining. And, you know, stories about, you know, sort of in a way, I think what Zach lost was his desire to kill himself through drugs and alcohol. Yeah. So if you've lost that addiction or lost that obsession with drugs and alcohol, that's a good story.
Yeah. So
don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So send them over to losingitcontact@gmail.com, or you can find more information on nelsiespencer.com.
This is why I have Ronnie, because I say all that and I just assume that you guys are going to send it to me in the mail or something. But Ronnie's like, oh no, remember, we have an email address. So yes, send it over, losingitcontact@gmail.com. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just realized I keep forgetting to look at the camera. It's really annoying. I keep forgetting this is also on camera, and there's like 3 cameras in front of me right now.
Yeah.
Also, I wanted to point out.
Yes.
So last week we filmed that outro thing, and when I was editing it, I want everyone to know that yes, my eyelid was humongous. It's gotten better this week, but it's because my eyelids get really dry and then they swell up, and I don't do very well in dry weather. I'm like a naturally dry person. So that's why that's like that. I'm not normally have a huge eyelid on my face, but it's getting better. So yeah. And also notice the tasteful background that Ronnie now has, right? No more the whole thing. Yeah.
No more a wall of Post-its, which makes it look like maybe he's a serial killer or something.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm in the movie number 23.
Right,
Jim Carrey.
Right. Or what's the one with Russell Crowe where he's schizophrenic and he's like writing shit and putting it all over the wall? Anyway.
I don't know, but it sounds like me on a Friday night. Sounds like a good time.
Sounds like me on a Friday night. And my background's changed, and it's going to change again because I'm still trying to figure out how to... You know, and as I said to Ronnie, if you guys are here for the background, we're in fucking trouble. So, you know, what are we going to do? So, so we'll see you guys next week.
Yep. See you next week.
Keep being kind to yourself and others, and you know, we'll see you soon. I feel like we need a catchy outro. We need a catchy line, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
What's our catchy goodbye? Who gives a fuck? That's our catchy goodbye.
Who gives a fuck? I don't know. It sounds like who gives a fuck if you come back?
No, we don't mean that. We don't mean that.
I see you tomorrow, but who really gives a fuck, you know?
Yeah. See you next week, and we adore you. And
we'll figure it out.
Don't poop in the ocean. That's now our closing line.
Yeah, don't poop in the ocean.
Don't, unless you're a fish, don't poop in the ocean. All right, that's it. Goodbye.
Okay, see ya.
Losing it, losing it, losing it, losing it, losing it, losing it, losing it. You came and you listened to the story. I hope so much that it didn't make you sorry, and I hope so much that you'll come back again.
Losing It, hosted by Nelsie Spencer, produced by me, Ronnie Whaley. Theme song by Hunter Williams. Follow us online on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and all podcasting platforms at Losing It Podcast. Viewers can email Nelsie with questions or comments about life, writing, comedy, or even your own Losing It story for a chance to be on the Losing It Podcast at losingitcontact@gmail.com. For everything Nelsie and everything Losing It, visit us at nelsiespencer.com.